How's it going, guys? Spencer Presley here, doing a little bit of a different review today for Attack on Titan: Humanity in Chains for Nintendo 3DS. This was developed by Spike Chunsoft and is now being released in North America and Europe by Atlus USA. First off, I guess we can just start talking about the story. There's not really that much to really go on in terms of story, unfortunately. The story retells everything from the first season of the anime, which is cool if it wasn't for the fact that everything is very lacklusterly displayed or conveyed to the player. So you get to play as, at least in the story mode, as Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Levi, and Sasha, but none of the characters feeling different. Most of their missions are just copy and paste of the other characters, and outside of Eren being able to turn into a Titan, none of the missions feel different. Like, no character feels less powerful than the other. Like, I would have loved to have had Armin just be totally shit at destroying Titans, but his missions would have focused more on telling other people how to take them out. Or Mikasa can just totally wreck shop, or like Levi, whereas someone like Sasha or Eren, they are just kind of more balanced, whereas everyone just feels like stats don't come into it at all. It's every character is the same, and it just makes everyone feel like a skin, taking out of their gameplay and stuff. But either way, going back to the story, like I said, the pacing, one of the reasons it makes it so bad is because outside of these nice animated cutscenes they take from the show, most of the story is all conveyed through text and pictures from the anime, which would be fine if they actually like had any sort of like depth to them, but it's basically like having Wikipedia tell you the story. Yeah, you find out what happens, but you are missing so much of that heart and so much of what makes that show interesting. Another thing that, at least in my opinion, took it out a lot for me was the fact that there was no English voice acting. It is all Japanese voice acting, which is fine, and I usually don't count that against a game, except in cases like this. This is the bare minimum Google Translate of translating a game from Japanese to English. It has every bit of story dialogue needed in cutscenes and text of the menus, and that's it. That's all that's translated. Everything else, when a character's talking, but when you select them, when a character might be speaking in the background or clearing or before a mission, like these things that are actually relative to what's going on in the story, it doesn't tell you. A good example, when you select a character from the character selection screen, just taking Eren for example, he has at least a 15-second like dialogue that he just spouts out. Yes, you can skip it, but if you're someone like me who's just waiting there as he's talking, he's like, wait, why is this not translated? I mean, this game has already got an uphill battle on its own, pricing itself at $40 for a digital-only release, and half-assing it in my terms when it comes to translating the game is not doing you any favors, and is very surprising for a company like Atlus, who usually takes such pride in bringing over these games from Japan to like in America and Europe and stuff like that, that I know a lot of people are probably going to be burned by it, and it's just very unlike them. So hopefully that's not a trend that we see in the future. I mean, obviously the text that is there and is displayed is fine, it's all accurate, there's no like discrepancies I was able to find, but it's just certain things like that is like, if you're going to take a voice option out, you better damn well make sure you have everything in that game. An English speaking person like myself who doesn't know that much Japanese will be able to understand like characters talking to one another in the background, or these things that actually matter. I mean, obviously you don't pick up this game expecting to learn all the story outside of like small tidbits and things like that. I mean, certain anime games are like that. I know I'm like that, at least with the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series. Like those, I can 100% learn the story of the anime or manga from that game, because that team takes the time to translate everything and explain to the player why this part of the story matters. Like, it goes from a very tense moment of you finding out that Eren dies to save Armin's life, but then you're like, oh, there's actually there's no consequence to that because see, he has 7 missions left, so he's clearly still alive actually, and it just kind of ruins those moments, unfortunately. And when the game tries to be very epic and cinematic, it just usually ends up landing on its feet because the only thing that really ends up saving this game is the gameplay itself. I guess talking about the gameplay, that's actually my favorite part. That is actually my favorite part of the game. It is the Spider-Man 2 of video games, and by that I mean it's not perfect. The controls are a little convoluted and take a while to get used to, but when you get like flying through the air, zip lining, and like slicing up Titans, it's very fun and very rewarding and gets you in the feel like you are living out that anime, which I guess does help because they do take music just straight from the anime. I mean, I couldn't even tell, but I'm 90% sure that there is no original music. They just use the whole license thing for it, which, I mean, isn't a detriment to it and obviously helps some of those story moments feel very epic and awesome. But yes, besides the controls being very awesome and being very fast, I like it because when I'm doing those story moments with as little context as I have, I'm still having fun with that in the story mode. Unfortunately, the story mode does not take that long, and I finished it in about 3 hours, and then finishing everyone else's missions only took me about 7 hours, which was really just a lot of playing over the same missions, which was super not fun, but at least had some different text variations, but a majority of them used all the same animated cutscenes. When you're done with that, basically when you finish story mode, or about halfway through story mode, you unlock world mode. And what world mode does is it gives you more missions to play, making your own team, making your own scout to play as, which would be cool, except taking the story context out of slaying these Titans is so boring for me. I couldn't get into it. There's tons of missions. I just couldn't really, like, if I wasn't reviewing this, I wouldn't have put as much time into world mode as possible. I could really only stomach a few hours without just feeling like I'm forcing myself to play this mode to get more value out of this game. And when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, this game just lacks self-value. It is a good game, and yes, probably has somewhere of upwards like 20 plus hours of content, but is that content worth playing? No, it really just felt like fluff to me, which is super disappointing. If you are, for whatever reason, a fan of the gameplay and only the gameplay, there are lots of options. You can upgrade your character, their supplies, who you play as, or what kind of character you want to play as well as you can do local and online co-op. The online co-op is fine, although what I'm more worried about is, with as little buzz as there is behind this game, I don't expect there to be tons of people playing online. I might be wrong, but with as much negative feedback as it has already been getting for a Japanese voice only and $40 digital option only, no retail, you're losing a lot of your fan base with that when it comes to Attack on Titan fans, as well as Atlus fans. Plus, the game being a year and a half old probably also didn't do it any favors. Wrapping up, some little bit of positive notes is, at least with the presentation, the character models for the Titans and the characters you actually play as look very good, especially for a DS game. Unfortunately, all that detail that's put into the characters and the animations of the Titan are sacrificed by just boring, empty worlds. Like, they look like what you expect them to, but unfortunately, these worlds that it's like, the only situation where it even made sense was when you were exploring outside the wall. Outside the wall, it's fine, it makes sense. Obviously, there aren't supposed to be many humans, but it's like, in situations like this, like, throwing in 1 or 2 dead bodies would add so much to just like, oh, it's me, a bunch of brown buildings, and a Titan, as opposed to, oh, this is like an actual war zone where I have to help save these people before they become like the rest. Besides that, unfortunately, the game just goes to total shit The game goes to total shit frame rate wise when you turn on the 3D. Obviously, not a ton of people are fans of the 3D, but with the new 3DS, that would have actually been a big plus, because I enjoy playing games in 3D now so much because, well, the new 3DS makes it work. Talking about new 3DS, the game does support Circle Pad Pro, so you can use the right stick or right nub C-pad thing to be a camera, as well as the extra triggers and stuff on the side. I found the camera movement helped a lot, but the extra triggers basically were just to supply different ways to press the attack or glide button, so it's not necessary. If you only have a regular 3DS XL without the extra buttons and stuff, you're not going to be missing out on much. The only thing is the camera might just get a little bit annoying, but definitely wasn't as big of a problem as I thought it was going to be. And like I said, music being from the show, on one hand, I like that. It feels very authentic. It feels like you're trying to be the show. But at the end of the day, it would have been nice to get some sort of original music at all when it comes to this. Either way, I mean, that's kind of wrapping up my thoughts on it a little bit, but Attack on Titan, Humanity in Chains, I had so much hope for you. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying don't buy it, but unless you're just some die-hard Nintendo 3DS fan who loves Attack on Titan, who needs something to play, this game has a lot of gameplay to it, but if this is your type of gameplay without any story and that interests you, then I more than recommend going for it. But if you were more of just like, hey, I'm a casual fan, or hey, I'm looking for something that's actually gonna remind me of the story of the game or give me something more than face value than just, oh, here's a shoddy Wikipedia level entry of storytelling and also a bunch of missions that have nothing to do with the actual story, there you go. Either way, guys, that was my thoughts. I personally would say the game would do much better, in my opinion, if it was priced at $20, but while I was reviewing this game, I kept thinking, man, I really wouldn't be happy if I paid $40 for this. So I recommend waiting. Hopefully they drop the price down. Hopefully Atlus realizes if you plan on doing game releases like this in the future, price them a lot smarter. Maybe put a little more work into translating the Japanese into English, especially if you're not going to do English voice acting. Either way, the game is going to be out starting the 12th of May in North America. It's supposed to come out sometime in May for Europe and stuff, but there were some weird copyright issues, so might be later than that, might be sooner rather than later, no idea. If you guys enjoyed this type of review, let me know. If it sounded like rambling and you hate it and you never want me to do it again, also let me know. No plans for myself to do a written review at the moment, but also if you'd like to see that, I mean, I might do it as well. I just wanted to get this out for you guys as quickly as possible. Besides that, thanks again for watching this video. If you don't mind, press the subscribe button. I plan on posting a couple more videos here in the next couple of days. Either way, you guys have a good one.